Best director up next. We're getting down to it here. And I go first. So I'm going to take Brady Corbet for The Brutalist. This is a real example of like an auteur movie where it's like you can feel, he wrote and directed it, co-wrote it with his wife Mona Fassel, but like his hand is involved in every step of the process. And he's been a real face for this movie and for the promotion of the film through the awards season. Many of his acceptance speeches that he's had have been focused around this idea of needing to receive director's cut and having a final cut and all that stuff. This movie, while about the American dream and about immigrants and about anti-Semitism and growing Zionism, it is also very much about artists and patrons, and how as a director you are an artist, but you also have to serve the whims of the people who are giving you the money to fund the project. I don't think with The Brutalist he had as much interference, but I think on previous projects like Childhood of a Leader and Vox Lux, he had some interference from the money side of things, from the producer side of things. So this movie is also very much about, what it takes to be a fucking artist in a capitalistic society, which I think is something that resonates with me very heavily. And Brady Corbet, obviously, it means a ton to him as someone who's trying to work.
I think it's a good pick, obviously. Just the amount of kind of work that went into this, you really do see kind of he cares about every single aspect of it. So I agree completely. And yeah, the deeper themes definitely kind of push this movie to the elite level that I think it's at as well. And yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong with any of these people I think we're going to talk about. I'll just pick my boy off the bat. I mean, Denis Villeneuve made a movie this year. I'm going to pick him for Best Director. Obviously, Dune Part 2, amazingly directed, I think. The first one for me, too, I did not enjoy as much. But this one specifically kind of bringing all of those different sci-fi fantasy elements together in just one badass movie. And also the fact that it looks beautiful. Like we mentioned, I mean, the score, the editing, every technical, and that's where it got nominated the most. Every technical is really off the wall, I think. And then obviously kind of bringing together these two stories. It is a part two more than anything else, but it's one of the stronger part two movies, in my opinion, of that kind of genre. So shout out to him. The worms are awesome. I would have never thought he would have made that look good, but everything in this movie looks great. Maybe Christopher Walken could have given him one or two more takes. That's my only note to you, Denis, because you're an absolute god.
The question of like what does a director do comes up a bunch, and like the big thing is like a director's a field general, like they're in charge of all the other departments. And Dune, I think of all the movies we're going to probably nominate here in this best director category, like it's the biggest production. It's the one that like so many things could go wrong, like so many moving parts. But as a director, he's in charge of all these departments. He leads them with a clear and concise vision that he has had since he read the Dune novel when he was a kid, right? Also, fucking Dune is impossible to adapt. They didn't do it for years. They tried with David Lynch, one of the great American filmmakers, and he failed miserably attempting to do it. God love him. Like that movie just does not work. And what Denis manages to do by pulling this off is incredible. And it's insane that it's, of course, not winning Best Picture, but also that he is not nominated for Best Director, because it is a singular man's vision in the biggest possible stage of sci-fi blockbuster filmmaking. And like I said before, you watch it and you should just be ashamed that every other movie doesn't look this good.
That's facts, though. And I mean, like you said, too, just the translation, the fact that they were even able to make like a good movie on film for, such a thorough and long book is pretty impressive. Even though I guess it's still kind of a part two or three, but middle movie wise, it's out there, man. It's pretty awesome.
I'm gonna take Ramel Ross as my next nomination here for Best Director. Such a cool guy to hear talk about the craft, and also not a guy who is really sees himself as like a feature film director, and maybe he won't even make another narrative. He's directed one documentary and now he's directed one narrative, but he's also just like a photographer and a professor and a writer, and the work of adaptation, the book to screen, and the decision to do POV and the decision to shoot the banal moments of life all come directly from him. It's really incredible. I think this movie will be the one that in 10 years people are like, how did that not win best picture? You're telling me that wasn't even like the top of the like it's one of the defining films of the 21st century of American filmmaking. I think definitely of like the Biden era of America. It's always going to be remembered.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, no nom for him either. So kind of tough where the majority of our favorites don't get recognized at the big boy table. But yeah, I think another deserved choice again, just for kind of the creativity that sparks that movie more than anything else. I mean, he deserves some recognition. So I agree. We were just talking about it as well, but I mean, I'm going to take Luca for challengers. Before this year, if you told me like Luca Guadagnino is about to make one of the best sports movies of all time, I wouldn't have believed you. Like obviously this guy, the movies that I've seen him, it's mostly romantic based, which Challengers definitely is too. But you throw in this really awesome tennis element to this movie with this love triangle, and it's just unbelievably compelling to me. And again, kind of bringing together all the factors, great performances, great score, great editing, just all of the technicals again on a different level. So I have to shout out him. He's becoming one of my favorite directors. I didn't see Queer, which I know you weren't a massive fan of, but everything that I see from Luca, he just continues to impress me.
And the clip that he's working at is kind of
Yeah.
insane. He's just pumping them out. Obviously, Challengers got pushed a little because of the strikes, but like he had Queer in the Bank. He's got After the Hunt coming out this year. He's got like, 6 unrealized projects in the bank. We'll see, if the Sergeant Rock movie happens or the American Psycho movie happens, but I'm excited to see whatever he does next.
I'm here for them all. Yeah. Keep pumping them out. We'll keep watching them.
I'm gonna go George Miller next here
Nice.
as my third nomination here for Best Director. Again, just like I think Furiosa is so underrated in like the amount it made at the box office, about how much it talked about it, how many nominations it received. Mad Max is such like an insane world. Like we've done 2 episodes now on them, where it's just like the world building is so unique and so cool. And as a prequel and as a story about like revenge and evil, orators who take control of people through fascistic means. It's a great movie. Wastelands, environmental concerns, a lot of stuff there.
I love that.
Maybe a little pretentious with the subtitles, like the pole of inaccessibility and stuff like that, but
Right.
that's okay.
For me, I do like George Miller just as a director, especially in the Mad Max franchise. I think that is, where he's meant to be. And honestly, every 2 years, if he pumped out a Mad Max movie, I think that's ideal for me. So anytime he makes one of these, I'm not going to complain. But yeah, not as good as Fury Road for sure.
The thing that I've come to appreciate about it, the more I think about it, is that it is distinctly different. Like he chose to create something different with Furiosa. Obviously, I think his cinematographer passed away or retired, so it's shot by a different guy, very notably. But like Mad Max Fury Road is all about quick cuts, fast editing. This one is much more long takes, Spielbergian. We're going to go from a mid shot to a wide shot to a ultra close shot and do it all in one flow. He does not have the Steven Spielberg sauce, but he's doing a close imitation. And it's not as bad of an imitation as like James Mangold making fucking Dial Destiny, not to throw any shots, but Spielberg Mad Max ripoff, like it, I like it. I don't know.
That
There's
is
no
interesting.
divorce in it, so
Yeah, I never thought of it from that perspective, but I would watch a Spielberg Mad Max movie. Wouldn't be my first choice, but I'd watch it for
just watch
sure.
the film Duel. That's you know
Just as good.
less radioactive waste, but basically the same film.
Sounds better.
Who you
Um,
taking?
my next pick, I'm going to take Sean Baker for Nora. We've been talking about it a little bit too, but again, kind of just the combination of, well, first off, the performances are great from A Few Unknowns, which definitely the director plays a part in. But then too, just the story and the pacing, like I was talking about earlier as well. I think just brings together all of the elements and definitely made, one of the more anxiety filled movies of the year, but also one of the more fun and comedics while also having that punch at the end. So kind of has everything that you'd want in a good movie.
Yeah, I like this. I think like of the roles he does, casting, editing, like I think the direction thing is the best part of this movie
Yeah.
versus like the writing and all that. So well deserved for Sean Baker. My pick here is going to be Robert Eggers. I haven't given a lot of love to
Nice.
Nosferatu, but again, this is the case of like this guy's been obsessed with fucking the story of Nosferatu his entire life. He was obsessed with Dracula. He saw the original F.W. Murnau film, loved it. He put on like a stage production of Nosferatu in his early 20s, when he was kind of making it in the theater world before he became a film director. This movie, like, I think it doesn't always work for me because I just don't love the Nosferatu story, but I think it's a really sick adaptation and just everything in Eggers' mind. I'm really interested in visually reframing the story to be a little bit more about the Lily Rose Depp character and giving her agency. I find to be interesting. The mustache. We know where that decision came from, and maybe that shouldn't that should knock him off the nomination eligibility list. But I think Nosferatu was a really fun time, and it's a cool instance of someone not named Christopher Nolan or even Denis Villeneuve being like a mainstream director that people are kind of like, hey, you saw that Nosferatu movie directed by Robert? Like in the horror world, like he's kind of becoming this name that matters. He might be the most famous working director in that genre.
Yeah, I mean, he's on a really good run, and I think box office wise too, this was by far his best performing one. So
A
he's building that
goddamn hit,
reputation.
honestly. Like it's continued to make money. Let me pull this up because I was really surprised with how well it ended up doing.
People love their horror, man, and this is a very very good horror. So I love Sinclair. He was on my short list for sure, but definitely a good pick there.
$178 million worldwide, 95 of that domestically. So yeah.
Pretty solid. Shout out. Um, that was probably gonna be my next pick, honestly. So I'll swerve. I think I will take Coralie Fargo for the substance. I believe that's how I pronounce
Farge,
that.
maybe, I think.
Farge. Uh, Shout out Frenchies. But I thought this was very, very well directed. And again, this is the first that I had seen from her. The fact that she was able to blend these two different actresses into one character, I thought was really effective. And then of course too the body horror elements. I feel like that is massively kind of on the director's shoulders here. Obviously, a ton of practical makeup along with that to make it believable, but just like the different shots lined up with that, it's just gross shit, if I'm being completely honest. But it was gross shit, like shot really well and like put together in a very concise story that I enjoyed watching. Again, kind of just want to shout her out because I haven't seen a ton from her, but excited to see kind of what she does next. I would assume it's going to be, in the horror genre, but I would say I would want to see maybe something just toned down a little bit horrific wise. But anything that she wants to pitch, I'll probably on. I will be on board for, I would think.
I was a little shitty a second ago about that movie, but like the influence is obviously evident. However, the world building and this version of LA that she creates is very cool to me. And I think it is a very unique style and a very unique vision of Hollywood. All the stuff with the Walk of Fame star and the role that plays throughout the film is really, really well done. And that's probably my favorite part of the substance. So that's one good thing I'll say about it. This moment.
Glad we can get that out of you.
Gonna be surprised we haven't mentioned this movie yet. I'm gonna take my man Richard Linklater for Hitman, which was technically a 2024 release. Again, another 2023 New York Film Festival premiere, but Netflix held it till this year. And I think one of the better scenes of the year is the text messaging scene.
We gotta talk. There's a bunch of shit coming down that we gotta figure out quick, or we are both fucked.
Wait, what?
Look, people know I handle shit around here, so because of that meeting we had that one time, I'm catching heat for the death of your husband. They're thinking one of us did it.
Well, it wasn't me.
Look, I know you did it. It's fucking obvious, and I don't blame you.
I didn't kill him. Wait, who's accusing me of this? This is bullshit, and you out of all people should know that I was incapable of this.
Okay, then who did? What the hell happened?
I just know what they've told me.
Which is what?
He got shot buying drugs. Guy was an addict.
Okay. So you say you didn't kill him. When was the last time you saw him?
Not that long ago at Virgo's.
The club?
Yes, the club. I was walking out of Virgo's with this guy that I met on the dance floor, and boom, I run into Ray. Ray loses his shit when he sees me with this other guy, starts running his mouth, gets all threatening, fucking grabs me, and then this other guy trying to protect me, he pulls out a gun out of nowhere and sticks it in Ray's face.
Just the direction of that, taking the two people that have incredible chemistry together, letting them play off each other, all the fun, individual Glenn Powell characters that kind of get to be built out. Is really good stuff. So I'm gonna give Richard Linklater some love here for his direction in Hitman.
I like the shout out. I'm a big Linklater guy, so I definitely respect it. But yeah, Hitman's kind of mid, but it's a Linklater film, so I can't argue too much with it. It is, I think, directed very well, and like I said too, I mean the starring duo has good chemistry, so good enough to make the list from my standards just based off of those. My last pick, I definitely wanted Eggers in my 5 slot. I think I'll just pivot to a different horror that I've talked about a little bit. Osgood Perkins for Longlegs.
No Shyamalan, dude.
It's not even a horror movie. Mr. Thriller Boy. But no, M. Night, nowhere near my list. Osgood Perkins, though, up and comer, which I love. Again, this is the first movie that I'd seen from him. And I just really, really liked it. Again, kind of just the way that it looks more than anything else. The filmmaking style and choices with that was kind of what drew me in. But also, too, just the tighter script with this sort of serial killer hunt down movie I really enjoyed. It wasn't like Zodiac where it's 4 hours long and then we don't even know who the killer is. We get to Nick Cage's craziness and we kind of dive into that until the twist. But altogether, I really enjoyed it. You throw in, an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actor here or there. I mean, that's just good casting. So shout out to Osgood. I haven't seen The Monkey yet. I'm excited to see it and excited to see anything else this guy will make because I was very impressed with this first film that I'd seen from him.
I kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt a little bit with The Monkey, where I was like, okay, you're kind of being critical of this, but, don't cross the line. And he did with The Monkey. He went too far. Also, it's funny, up and comer. He's like a 57-year-old man.
He's old, yeah. He's
Nepo baby. Shout out another one on your list. Son of Anthony Perkins. Clearly working through some internalized homophobia or hate towards his father for being gay in The Monkey, but don't need to get into that right now because maybe we'll do a mini review. Any honorable mentions? I know you're scraping the bottom of the barrel with old fake auteur Oz over there. Next face of horror, Robert Eggers. Who? Any honorable mentions?
Well, you stole my Eggers, so yeah, I'd go with the lesser version. But I did have Jesse Eisenberg for A Real Pain. Again, just direction-wise for him, I think he did that other movie with Finn Wolfhard that I didn't see, but just really strong for kind of an early career move. And then along with that, wanted to shout out Anna Kendrick again for her directorial debut with Women of the Hour. It was really, really good. And then I had Yorgos, just as last dish if all my stuff got stolen for Kinds of Kindness. But the direction was solid, but again, kind of, the editing brought it down. So he was on my honorables as well.
My only 2 honorables were Dev Patel and Vera Drew. Vera Drew, director of People's Joker, and Dev Patel, of course, Monkey Man. Again, both 2 movies we've mentioned. Who's the winner here? Denis?
That would be my pick. I mean, it's Denis.
It's
I can't pick anybody else. Shout out to the
Brady
GOAT.
Corbet, close second, but
Yeah.
you got to award Denis for the part 2.
I back it.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.